In this video, I'll show you how to save a CSV copy of an Excel tab into your hard drive. Okay, so I have a salary report over here, and I want to be able to save CSV copies of this salary report, this tab particularly, into a directory within my hard drive. And to do that, I'm going to be using VBA code. So we're going to be importing or saving all the contents of this particular tab. And we have two columns here, the name column and the salary column. And we have a cell over here for a unique identifier. And I'll explain a little bit later on how this cell comes into play. In order to do this, we need to use VBA. So we have to make sure that our Excel spreadsheet is saved in a macro-enabled format. So you have to have a macro-enabled workbook in order to be able to proceed with the next step. So if your workbook is not a macro-enabled worksheet, just pause this video right now, save your workbook as a macro-enabled workbook, and then watch the rest of this video. Okay, so the code we're going to be using is this code over here. This code is also available in the description box of this video. I'm going to copy this code first, and then I'm going to put it in the developer tab. Now, if you don't have the developer tab in your ribbon, here's how to add it. You have to go to File, Options, Customize Ribbon, and click on this developer checkbox over here. So if it's unchecked, you have to check it. And as soon as you check it and you click on OK, the developer is going to appear on the ribbon. So once it appears, we have to go to Visual Basic and click on Insert and then click on Module. And once you do that, copy and paste the VBA code, which is visible on the screen right now and is also available in the description box of this video, into this area over here, as so. And you don't need to understand how this code exactly works, but you do need to make two very small modifications to this code. And here are the two small modifications. The first modification is this line over here. So the let's see, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th line of code, where it says myPath. And in the myPath section, I indicated a directory in my hard drive. So this is in my C drive. I created a folder in my C drive called the SalaryReport folder. That's the name of the folder which I created within my hard drive. And I'm going to show you that folder right now. So here's that folder. As you can see, it's in my C drive, and it's called SalaryReport. And as you can see, there's nothing in the folder right now. It's an empty folder. So you have two options. First, you can do the exact same thing. You can go in your C drive and create a folder called SalaryReport, or with another name, of course. And the other option, select any directory within your hard drive. It could be your desktop, it could be in your C drive, it could be anywhere. But you have to place that directory here, and note that the directory has to end with a backslash. So after you copy and paste your directory, make sure that there's a backslash at the end. This is very important, so make sure that's in. So that's the main change you have to make to this code once you copy and paste it in your module. Now, the second change is over here, the second line. This indicates what the name of the file is going to be once it's saved as a CSV in this particular directory over here. The name of the file that I have in mind is going to end in _SalaryReport. Again, you can change this to anything you want. Now this is an example, so I just called it SalaryReport to stay consistent. You can change it to whatever name you want. Then we have a range F1, and you might wonder what this range is over here. Remember in the beginning of the video when I told you about the unique identifier? So that's where this reference comes into play. So I referenced the cell F1 here, which is where we're going to be entering our unique identifier. So you might ask, why do we need a unique identifier? This is in case you want to save the report more than once. Say you save it once today and you want to save it tomorrow. This way we make sure that this file is being saved with different names. Otherwise, if you want to save it with the exact same name, you're going to get an error. For example, if cell F1 contains, say, the number 1, it's going to be saved as 1_SalaryReport. And then if you want to save it again and it has the exact same name, you're going to have an error. And that's where this unique identifier comes into play. You have to make sure every time you save it, there's a different unique identifier in cell F1, in case you want to save it more than once, of course. So yeah, so those are the main two changes you have to make to this VBA code. And you can leave the rest completely intact. So once again, I'll go through it. The first step is to copy and paste the directory in which you want the CSV copy of this tab to be saved into, and that directory must end with a /, as so. And the second step is to indicate the cell in which your unique identifier is located at. In this case, my unique identifier is located in cell F1, so I indicated F1. For you, for your report, it could be any cell in this tab. And of course, you can select a name at the end, which ends with .csv. And these two lines are the only two lines you need to modify. The rest could remain exactly as they are. And once you copy and paste this code and make these two small changes, you just click on Save and X out of this. Now, this code is pretty much ready to run. Now, I could, of course, go to the macros section and run it, but just for convenience, I'll just create a macro button. So I'll go to Developer, Insert, and I'll select the button, and I'll put the button here, and I will call the button Save CSV Copy to Hard Drive. There we go. That's our macro button. Now I'm going to link the VBA code to this macro button by right-clicking on it and going to Assign Macro, and I will assign the SaveToDrive VBA code, which I just showed to you a moment ago, to this button. I'll click on OK. Okay, so now I'll indicate a unique identifier. Your unique identifier could be anything, or it could start at any number, so I'll just put like the number 1 here as my first unique identifier. Now I will click on the macro button, or alternatively, if you don't want a macro button, you can just go to macros and run it. But just for convenience, I created this button, so I'm going to use the button. So I'll click on the button, and something pops up that says the CSV version of this report has been saved into your hard drive directory. And that's was part of the code. At the end of the code, we have a message box that says the CSV version of this report has been saved into your hard drive directory. So this shows that the code has been executed successfully. Now, has anything happened? Has anything changed? Let's check. There we go. This folder that I just showed to you a moment ago, that was an empty folder, now contains a CSV Excel file, which is named in the exact same format which we indicated. That is 1_SalaryReport. Now let's run this again. And I'll go ahead and put these two side by side so you know exactly how this is happening. So this is my C drive. Inside my C drive, I have a folder which I created called SalaryReport. And that's where it's being saved, as I explained to you a bit earlier. So I'm going to change my unique identifier from 1 to 2, and I'm going to run this macro again by clicking this button. There you go. It says again, the CSV version of this report has been saved into your hard drive directory. I'll click on OK. There you go. There's your CSV copy of this tab, which was saved again with a different name, of course. Now let's change the unique identifier to 3 and run the macro again. There we go. It's been added. So as you can see, every time we click this button, a CSV version of this report gets added to this directory with a new name, of course, because we've indicated a unique identifier. Without this unique identifier, we can still do it, but we can only do it once, because it's going to give us an error since a report with the same name is already there. That's why this unique identifier is important, especially if you want to save this many times, say once a month or once a week, to, for example, compare the salaries of people. So this really comes in handy, this unique identifier. So now let's do it one more time. We change it to 4, run again. We have automatically created 4 CSV copies of this tab only by clicking on a button. And that's very convenient, and it could potentially add lots of value, seeing that this can help you to keep track of changes over time. And you can obviously create as many copies as you want, as long as you indicate a new unique identifier every time you run this macro. And this is how it's done. So once again, the VBA code is available in the description box. All you have to do is make two slight, very small changes. One is the directory ending with the backslash. The other one is indicating the cell which contains your unique identifier, and also naming it whatever you want over here. It's your choice if you want to create a macro button or run it directly through the developer tab. And this is how it's done. And this is a very neat and very cool trick. I hope you've enjoyed this video and you found it useful. If yes, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Also, if you haven't subscribed already, make sure to subscribe and also turn on notifications so you won't miss out on my future videos.